All right, so welcome back to the second session here for tonight's class. Um, Generally, this part of the class is where we start to arrange and make our plans for the rest of the semester um, in terms of assignments and how the classes run and so on. Um, so, has everybody been able to navigate to the e-classroom? Yeah, or let me ask you another question. Has anybody not been able to get into the e-classroom? That might be a faster answer.
So I haven't seen anything. I haven't been added actually.
You haven't been added? Who's this speaking, Maddie?
Leandra.
Miss Modest? Um, mm, okay, so have you been going to the new classroom platform or the old classroom platform?
I don't know what's the difference between
You
the
don't
old
know
and
there's a,
the new.
all right, there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the e-class, because I know I have you in class. If you look at my screen here, this is the list of participants, and you are registered for my class. Some people have never logged in, so I guess they may not have gotten into the e-classrooms yet. All right. So on the in this area here where you're logging in, um, on the student profile or what we call the Costart web portal. So when I get in here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Um, the single sign-on here, you'll see there are two e-classroom links. Um, this one is faculty only, and this one here should take you to the new e-classroom. All right. So it's kind of weird. This has been recently changed. So it looks like they've shut down the old one. So try, if you can, at this point in time, to log in, and it should take you to the. This is what it should look like now. It's the new e-classroom portal, and I've already registered everybody for the class, and it should come up under my courses. So this one here is our Monday night class, and it will look like this. So if you're having any issues, let me know, because the link for today's class is also is here in terms of being able to join the class is available here in this block here. This is the link to the class sessions, and this is the link to the WhatsApp chat group. Now, has everybody been able to join the WhatsApp chat group? Or I should ask
Yes, sir.
the other way around. Has anybody not
Not
been
yet.
able to? Let's ask that way.
No, sir.
No, I have not as yet.
Mikhail. All right. So, do you think you could just click on the, do you have the capacity to log into the page now and see if you could join the class, the WhatsApp chat group at this point?
Oh yeah, I could log in now.
Yeah, all right, make a try. And for those who have not yet been able to get to the e-classroom, let's try all and see if we could get us in. That's Leandro and anybody else who's had previous issues. See if you could log in and have a look at what's going on. On the e-classroom in the general resources area, you'll see two textbooks, the Exploring Leadership text and the Leadership Experience text. You need to download copies of those. You have the course outline with course schedule document. Um, it's kind of in two places. You have a visual concept of what the course looks like. There's some documents here that will make more sense in a little bit. Um, these again, this is the course schedule with assignments. Any of you all downloaded this document, this PDF? Well, it's not a PDF. Um, this is a Word document at this point in time. All right. And that looks like this. So hopefully some of you had this document downloaded, and it's a schedule of our activities, and that's what we want to pay attention to this evening and try and arrange things. All right. So it's Monday, the CRN. You'd see my email addresses here, my phone contact, which is all on the system there for you guys. And you'd see a schedule of class activities. You'd see a number of presentations ranging from 1 to 10. And we'll see some dates for different activities and deadlines and so on. So we need to go through this so that everybody understands what's happening and what the plan is for the semester. All right, so let's start with going through the first evaluation exercise that you're going to be looking at is actually what do we call a chapter presentation. All right, and it's done in small groups. So you're going to be assigned chapters from the text to teach to the class. That's what these dates and chapter designations are. I am going to present the first three chapters of the textbook, and let me just show you the textbooks. All right, somebody's trying to get in here. All right, so I want to keep this little piece open here so I could see if anybody has any questions they want to ask during this period. So I'm going to present the first three chapters or the first part of the textbook. So the textbook these are the textbooks that we're going to be using. This is the main text. The name of this text is Exploring Leadership for College Students Who Want to Make a Difference. We're using this textbook, and I am going to be dealing with the first part or part one of the chapter. I'm going to be dealing with these three units. Here are three chapters over the next 3 weeks. And then from there on, we are going to start exploring, but in a different technique that we're going to be utilizing. Each group will take a chapter and present it or teach it, I would say, to the class. We'll be looking at chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 from this textbook. And then we will be doing a couple chapters out of this textbook, which is the DAF textbook. For those of you who have done any sort of management studies, you'd know that DAF is one of the key people in that area. And we're going to be looking at chapter 6 here, Courage and Moral Leadership. Then we're going to be looking at Power and Leadership, Vision and Strategic Direction, and Leading Change. So we're going to be augmenting the other textbook with a couple of textbooks from this more business-oriented text. All right. So far, so good. Everybody's okay with that? Yes. All right. Now that chapter
Yes, sir.
presentation actually accounts for 30% of your final grade. So it's a big chunk that you're going to be doing, and I'm going to be evaluating that presentation based upon content coverage. So you are not choosing what you think the most important things are out of the text. Whatever the text presents, you must go through and explain to the audience and present it to them, to the class. I'm going to be looking at how you've used the example from the textbook, as well as the other examples that you draw from your own experiences and from everyday life around you to help with the explanation. That, of course, will have an impact on the clarity of your explanation of the concepts. You need to make recommendations for your class in terms of how they can proceed and move forward doing the things that the text recommends. And of course, as with any presentation, I'm looking for the use of a conclusion where you kind of wrap up and bring things around and conclude them. That's for 60%. 25%, I'm going to be looking at the way in which you go about delivering your material. So I'm looking at the style of delivery that you utilize. the quality and degree of class interaction, because that's one of the elements that we're going to be looking at. So in your design of the presentation, you should be looking at doing things to include the audience, your class, asking questions, getting some sort of activities going with them to assist. We'll be looking at the use of your presentation aids, which will include things like your PowerPoint that you're going to utilize to present the material, as well as any sort of additional videos that you might find to assist with the explanation of concepts and ideas. And of course, I'm going to be looking at time management. Generally, for every session, you would have an hour and a half available to you to present the chapter. So of course, you have to be dealing with that. And in the presentation, I expect appropriate use of citation. That's 15%. So I'll be awarding marks for that as well. Um, Citation, everybody here should be familiar with citation. I'm recommended the use of the APA system. And you need, of course, a combination of both in-text and a citation list, which will be part of the PowerPoint that you'll pull together. So everybody understands what this is? Any questions on this? No? But it's fairly clear. All right. So the dates of these presentations are determined by the selection of which chapters that you're going to utilize, and we'll get that going today. But before we do that, let's continue along. The second evaluation exercise is going to be a midterm exercise for 20 marks, and it becomes live from the 10th of March, and I expect by the 24th of March you should complete the activities for that. Now, the reason why we're starting from the 10th of March is by the 10th of March, we would have presented the chapters that are being evaluated. So the way in which this is done is some questions that is going to ask you to reflect on the content from those chapters from your own lives. So it's going to deal with some of the issues with group work and group development, ethical leadership, and of course ethical decision making, which is this last one here. So you'll have some time to put this together, because again, it requires a certain amount of self-reflection, and it's not necessarily just, well, it's not going to the text, pulling out the information and answering a question. It's about you sitting and thinking about how have I brought this, how is this theory describing what I have done in the past, or how can I link what I've done in the past with what the theory is saying. All right. We'll get into more details with this as we start to delve into the content of the chapters. All right. So by March the 24th, I expect most people to be completed with this. So between the presentation and the midterm exercise, that's 50% of your grades, 50% of the final grade that you would have covered. All right. Um, Now, the March 24th is not cast in concrete or carved in stone. It could be a little flexible when it comes to that delivery date, depending upon how things are going, because we have to contend with Carnival during this as well. So there may be issues that will come up, and people might come across personal issues that they could communicate with me, which is why you have my WhatsApp number. You could communicate with me either within the group or privately. You could message me and let me know what's happening. The next carded activity is the debate exercise, which is carded for April 14th. So it's highlighted in yellow here because we are in a bit of a quandary here, because classes end on April 27th. Now, technically speaking, I'd have liked a little more time between April 7th and the 14th to give you some time in terms of preparation, because as you can see, the last presentations are the week of April the 7th. And then we have the debate exercise April 14th, which means somewhere along the way we have to get some work done on the debate exercises in terms of preparation. If we can in fact push it by a week to the 21st, that'll be highly dependent upon people and their exams, because when classes end on the 27th, it means from the 28th, exams, there are 2 weeks for exam that go off there. So I want to kind of look and see if the possibility exists that we can actually have the debates during the exam period, without interrupting anybody who might have a final exam to do. But that can only happen when we start to get information about what's happening with your other classes. But tentatively, right now, the debate exercise is carded for the 14th of April, and we'd have to push on that. The reason why we end up with this is because Monday has been affected by Carnival and by Easter Monday. A number of holidays have kind of affected the class scheduling for us. In fact, as you might be able to see from the dates that you're seeing here. All right. Now, the debate exercise counts for 15%. And what's happening with the debate is that we will put the class into teams, three teams. One team will argue for, one team will argue against, and the third team will mediate the debate. We'll select two topics from these three and we'll debate them. Well, we, not really me, but you would debate them, and among yourselves, you would have a team of evaluators or mediators who would evaluate and grade the debating teams in terms of their performance in the debate, and the debating teams themselves would evaluate the performance of the um, mediating team to determine whether or not they've done a good job, yada yada. And there's some documents and stuff that you'll be utilizing to assist you with that. Everybody's following how this is going to be done. So in essence, therefore, this is a culminating activity. So I'm going to be bringing to bear the practice of taking leadership and being ethical in decision making. Those are the kind of things that we're going to be looking at and putting into practice. So I'm giving you an opportunity to put into practice what we go through in the class. Make sense so far? Um, so we talked about the midterm. This is the debate. Now there are two other assignments that are due. One, you can probably begin right now, actually, from this class, is developing a self-analysis. So you're going to reflect on um, how you've become the person you are today by evaluating yourself from in a kind of autobiography, where you're going to be looking back at your life and the people in your life or the things that have happened in your life that has made you or influenced you in becoming the person you are today. So there are some questions to help guide you through that process. And I've also included, you're free to use relevant pictures or images to assist in developing a detailed analysis of yourself and your personal development. If you're using personal images and photos, then of course citation would be necessary because it belongs to you. However, if you're using any kind of material from other people, then you'd need to include whatever appropriate citation would be required for that. There's a mark scheme that is laid out, an introduction and conclusion, of course, as with any paper, and then some marks for each of the questions that you're going to be utilizing, some marks for citation as well where necessary. Then I'm going to be evaluating use of language, and I'm also going to be evaluating the way in which you pull your document and organize it in terms of the font that you chose, double line spacing that is required for any sort of academic paper, the use of appropriate title pages, page numbering, and contents page. So you all are familiar with this because you all have done academic papers before, and you are familiar with how to set up an academic paper, right? Yes, everybody's on the same page here.
Yes, sir.
So far, one person understands. That's not good. Feedback is important, guys. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to do a proper job about in this self-analysis activity, it requires um, sitting down and really thinking about the questions and reflecting on your past life. Now, of course, for some people, you've lived a little more time than others, but in some instances, time is not the determining factor. More along the lines of, a lot has happened to you in a short space of time, and therefore, there is no right or wrong answer. There are no word limits to this self-analysis that you're going to engage in. All right. This assessment here is 20% of your final grade. It's assignment 4. And then we have assignment 5, which is a 15% evaluation, reflections on leadership action plan. And if we remember, one of the questions I asked at the very beginning was, what are your expectations for this course? So you recognize that this question here is something that you've already kind of discussed with me. So this paper requires you to reflect on the entire course after it's done, but to utilize a current your current position at this point in time to compare what you think about things now to what has happened by the time you end the course or by the time you finish the course. So what I'd like you all to do is to set up a file and answer question 1 here. As you commence this course, reflect on what are your expectations of the course, your lecturer, and yourself. This question should be completed by the second week of the first semester of the semester. Now it's important because we really do want to you would want to capture how you feel at this point in time. And don't worry about how it's formatted. Just capture your feeling in terms of question 1 and store it and put it away, because you're not going to come back to this until we get to the end of the course. Because as you can see, question 2 is asking you now, as you've ended the course, at the end of the course, reflect on how your expectations identified in the first part have been met or not met. So it'll be a good idea for you to document now this assignment and set it aside. All right. And the other questions that you'd realize would also have to go about evaluating how much change has taken place in yourself in terms of all the different aspects of leadership strength and weaknesses, your philosophy of leadership, um, your leadership style, and what you plan to do in the future to help move that style along. And again, I'm allowing you the free use of images and photography and whatever you would like to utilize in terms of graphics. And again, these are very private documents. They are not to be shared with everybody. Um, they're between me and you. And of course, I don't really see that you would have to cite, but if you do need to cite, please do so appropriately. Again, a similar marking scheme. Introductions, all the questions carry some weighting in terms of marks, some marks of citation if required, use of language, document organization. Same thing again. All right. And that's the last assessment for the thing. Now, if we go to the due dates for those assignments, I've actually offered you, because they require so much analysis and they actually make better sense when we've kind of done the content. I've actually set up the final deadlines for submission of these things as May 18th. Now, remember, classes end on the 27th of April. You have exams for for the next 2 weeks. Will be the last week of April and first week of May, and I'm still allowing you some time to really sit down and write these documents and put in some serious reflection and assessment, and get those papers into me by the 18th of May. Simply because, and you need to know this, I have a May 25th deadline for inputting grades. So this should give me at least a week to be able to go through your documents and mark them. It doesn't mean you can't tackle some of these assessments or assignments before the May the 18th. But my thinking is that you need some extra time because of the amount of reflection that is required, and that reflection will be affected by the impact that the material is likely to have on your on how you feel about things. Similarly, I would also say you can't really work on the action and leadership plan until we finish the debate exercise as well, which is the end of the semester as well. So you'd realize that there are some elements that you can do now or start now, but really it ties together best when we complete the material for it to have the cumulative effect that we're hoping that it should have. Any questions on that? And I hope you guys would appreciate the time outside, because semester ends in April, but I'm giving you until May to submit these things on the online platform. All right. So on the online platform, you'd see these submission blocks down here for the midterm, and I've already stuck in the dates and whatnot. For it, the 18th of May, the 18th of May here. Actually, I should fix that. I'm a bit of a thing. So we'd see, this is where you'll be doing your submissions for that. You'll notice I'm not using, for those of you who are familiar, because I realize some of you all will not have had this experience, I'm not using a Turnitin portal for you to check similarity ratings, because really you are writing about yourself. So I don't think it's about yourself and how you feel about things, and I don't really see the need for similarity ratings. The debate activity, if you see a date here already set up, these are the topics, these are the documents that we'd have to go through and set up for the use of it. And when we complete the thing, your debate rubrics come into this portal here, because of the way we have. And then, of course, once the recording is done, I'll be able to put the recording of the debate activities here. And as you present your chapters, I'll be recording them and I'll be adding them to the chapter or to the e-classroom as the activities and resources that are going to be developed through the course. So in essence, what's happening is by the end of this course, we will have 10 presentations here of the different chapters that you would have developed, like developing teaching tools. So think about it from that perspective, which is what you're doing. You are going to be taking responsibility for teaching the class the content from the class. And so therefore, that's why I spoke about this being a challenging class, one that requires a lot of self-reflection. And you'd notice there's no exams. Everything is focused on you and self, reflecting on content and coming to touch with yourself as an individual in the context of leadership and your ethical value system, but generally getting to know yourself a little better. All right. For those of you who might be engaged in some sort of significant relationship, some of these documents might be interesting to share with your significant other, as a way of getting into that conversation of deep, meaningful connectivity between them. All right, so far so good. Everybody's following everything. Yes? No?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. Anybody has any questions that they would like to ask at this point? Ms. Garcia? No?
No, sir, not at the moment.
All right. Well, of course, I mean, things may not come to mind at this point. So let's look at the chapters that we have to present on so you get an idea. So as I said, I'm going to be dealing with Unit 1, or the first part of the text. Then we have Chapter 4, Understanding Self, and you can see the relevance of that. Chapter 5, Understanding Others. Just to be clear, Chapter 4 is Presentation 1, Chapter 5 is Presentation 2. Chapter 6 from the main text, Integrity and Moral Purpose, is Presentation 3. Chapter 7, Teams and Groups, that's Presentation 4. Then, because integrity and ethics is such an important part of this course, we're going to look at how Daft looked at ethics and moral issues. And therefore, we're going to present his version from Chapter 6 here in Presentation 5. Then we're back to the regular text, Being in Communities, Presentation 6. Then Chapter 8, we're going to be dealing with Complex Organization, that's Presentation 7. Then we leave off from there and we go across to the DAFT. We look at Vision and Strategic Direction, that's Presentation 8. Power and Influence, Chapter 12 from the DAFT, Presentation 9. And then the last chapter that rounds off everything is Chapter 15 from the DAFT, Leading Change, which is primarily what we're looking at. Again, you would notice for every session we have 2 presentations, so that's why some managing your time becomes a bit critical. So what do we do now? What we do now is we assign people to the groups that to the chapters. So we have 29 people currently, and I'm gonna give you my. Um, all right. So the 29 people who are here in class, um, what I would want to do is for presentation one, I'm gonna limit that to 2 people, and then all the other presentations will have 3 people. Everybody's following that? Yes, no, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So I am not selecting people. I want people to volunteer to do these presentations. So you can't say so tell you. So by a show of hands, let me know what chapters. That's what I'm gonna try and well, I did say you should have probably um, have a copy of this yourself, but remember we all can't get the chapters we may initially seek. But remember, it's a team effort to try and go through 2 textbooks during the semester, um, and gain some learning and understanding from it. All right, so by a show of hands, people could start to indicate. It's kind of like first come first serve. Which chapters or which presentations they'd like to get into. So Ariel, what do you want to do?
So I would like to do chapter 4, please. Understanding self.
All right. So remember, this chapter we're limiting to 2 persons only. All right. So Ariel, once you put your hand up, you can put it down afterwards. Deo Prasad.
Hi, Sil. I would like to do chapter 6, please. Courage and moral leadership.
Okay, hold on a second.
Mm.
Um, Deo, courage and moral leadership.
Yes, Sil.
That's the DAF
You
version. That's
already have
chapter
the other.
5.
What
Is
I
it
see in here on my screen, chapter 6, DAF, courage and moral leadership.
right? This one here, chapter 6, so presentation 3.
No, well, that's presentation
Oh, no,
5,
no,
man, because I don't
presentation
see it now.
5. Okay, hold on. You're a bit
Yeah.
soft. So let me just put on my headset so I'll hear you better. All right. So it's presentation 5 you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
So,
Mhm.
the, Naya and Amisha would also like to do that one with
No,
me
they
if
won't. They
they
have to. They have
free.
to wait. Their turn.
Okay.
They work so, honey. You can't volunteer other people for it. Okay. Unless everybody's okay with that. Who's the other 2 people you want to look at? Devika.
Oh, Naya and Amisha.
That's because all of you partners. And who again?
And
Amisha,
Amisha
sir.
Ramprasad.
Oh, you gotta give me my surname. Amisha Rampasad, right? You all know each other by first name. I don't. This is the first time I'm meeting you all, so you're gonna have to deal with that. All right. So we. All right. So Ariel, you wanted to add something else, or if you're
No, sir,
done,
I forgot my hand up. Sorry.
yeah, 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 put it down. Devika needs to also do the same thing too. Elijah.
Hi, sir.
Mhm.
I would like to do chapter presentation 2. Chapter 5, understanding others.
All right. Okay. All right. Um, Miss Garcia.
So I would like to do chapter 7, teams and groups.
Teams and groups. Okay. Yes, you did talk about that in your thingamajig. All right. Um, Jimna.
Hi, sir. I would also like to do chapter 7, teams and groups.
All right. So you're working with Jeannie. Jeannie. Whatever. Okay, I'll get it right. Miss Garcia. Okay. Tracy Ann Devines. You might have to put your request in the comments if your mic's not working.
I'm not sure
Tracy?
if you can hear me.
Oh, you can. We can hear you now. Great. Yes,
Yes, because
Tracy.
I had to type.
All right. So where you want to go, Tracy?
All right. So initially, I wanted
Okay, you're
running on
breaking up.
chapter
You're breaking up.
five. I
Uh-huh. What chapter you wanted to get to?
initially chapter 6, but 5. I'm not sure if I will be allowed in.
Presentation 5? No, the max is 3. And it go and load up with a set of radiology people, radioactive people. But I'll tell you this much. Chapter 6 on presentation 3 is similar content. Would you be okay with that one?
Yeah, you can put me in there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Janie, you wanted to say something more? No. Tracy, remember to put your hand down. Miss Pitt, where do you want to go?
Hi, so I wanted to do chapter 7, if it's still available.
Chapter 7, teams and groups.
Yes.
All right. That is the. All right. So that closes off chapter 7. All right. Okay. All right. Miss Pitt, thank you. Miss Lewis.
Hi, sir. I would like to do presentation 3, chapter 6, integrity and moral purpose.
All right. That's what. All right. Cool. Travis.
Yes, you could just scroll along a little, let me just see the rest.
So we have being in
Um,
communities, complex organizations, um,
yeah, so
vision
I
and
do
strategic.
chapter 9.
Chapter 9, communities.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Who's after? Danielle Thomas.
Hi, can you scroll back up? I forgot. All right, chapter 5, understanding others.
Mm-hmm. All right. Christian Powder.
Presentation 7, sir.
Complex organizations.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Daniel, you could put your hand down. Leandra Modest.
Yes, so chapter 6.
Sorry. Chapter 6, presentation 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so that closes off this one as well. Okay, I need to just get these. I'll sort that out afterwards. All right. Tamika, Modest.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, complex organizations.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so that's Modest and Modest gone. All right, Ms. Suki-sun.
So I would like to do chapter 4, please. Presentation 1.
Presentation. All right, woo. All right, so that closes off chapter 1. Presentation 1, I should say. All right, so you're working with Miss Pollard. All right, okay, so Tamika, you could put your hand on. Priya. Kerry.
For chapter 8, presentation 7.
All right, cool. No worries. You have space there. All right. Thank you. Aliyah Mohammed.
Presentation 6.
Aliyah.
Darren as well.
Who?
Darren Putku.
Put coup. All right. All right. So that's put coup, powder, and Ali and Aliyah Mohammed. All right. Okay. All right. Kerry. Oh, we have Crookshank trying to get back in. Yeah, you need to raise your hand because I can't see the comments. Um, all right, so Aliyah Mohammed, you've already been assigned. Lachman Singh. Sarah,
I saw presentation 8, chapter 13.
presentation 8, chapter 3. Right, yeah, nobody's gone there yet. We still have a lot of these. All right, that's vision and strategic direction. All right, thank you. Miss Devines, you want something else?
If I had time to yeah, I could switch the chapter to be possible.
If you, okay, you wanted to switch to chapter 13. Okay, no worries. Yeah, there's still room for making swaps at this point. Um, there's nothing's been, as we said, cast in stone. So we're moving you from here to chapter 13 with Miss Lachman Singh. That's what it is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we still have chapter presentation 9 and 10 with nobody in it, huh? So things to consider because all the chapters have to be completed. Oh, wrong document. All right. So, Mr. Lachman Singh, you got assigned already. Or did you want to make a change? All right. Tracy. Okay. Urmila.
Hi, sir. Presentation 8.
All right. All right. So that closes off this one. All right. That's vision and strategic direction. Thank you. Makano.
So can I have presentation 9, please?
Yes. Power and influence. Okay. Um, all right. Urmila, you have a hand up again. Okay. If your hand's not up, just put it back down. If that's the case. Um, all right. So I'm not seeing anybody else's hand up. Let me just make sure everybody who's here has been assigned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Sorry,
12.
sir, I didn't get to choose.
All right. Who that? Makeo. Where would you like to
Chapter
go?
Presentation 9, chapter 14. No, chapter 12.
Chapter 12. Okay. All right. I still have chapter 15 that hasn't gotten anybody. Gabrielle?
I'll take chapter 12 as well, sir.
All right. Could I um ask somebody who's here to take charge of chapter 15? So like yourself, sir. Um Gabriella, would you be okay leading off on chapter 15?
Sure.
All right. Now it's kind of a nice chapter to round off everything in terms of leading change because it takes us into, it's the last presentation for the semester. Um, Makia, you have something else you wanted to add? I see your hand still up.
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Did I get that right? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, somebody, all right, Miss Singh, where do you want to go?
Yes, sir. Chapter 12.
All right. Okay, control V. All right. So there are some people who have not yet been assigned. Is Kerry not here? Bablal? No, but
Yes,
Bablal's
sir.
already. Right. No, you were assigned already.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Crookshank, have you been assigned? Nope. Adissa's, is she still here? This is the problem. She might have gotten tossed out. All right. So Belfon thing, Devines was assigned already. What about Pretty? Is she here? See, some people got tossed out. All right, so she's not here. Jimda was assigned already, I believe. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Lawrence was assigned. No, not yet. Chantal was assigned. Lewis. Yes. And Makia was assigned as well. I know Miss Pitt is here.
Yes, sir.
Were you assigned anywhere?
Chapter 7.
Chapter 7. All right. Okay, good. I think Gabrielle was also assigned. Yes. So I want, and Rapla was assigned, and Anuradha was assigned. Yes. Okay, so we need to put in one person in presentation 2, one person in presentation 3, and 2 people into presentation 10. All right, so I'm going to put Pretty into presentation 2 because she was here. Lawrence was here, so I'll put Lawrence into presentation 3 with Lewis and Modest. And Belfort and Crookshank will go to presentation 10 with Gabrielle. Just format this thing here. All right, so I believe we have everybody from the list assigned. We have two, three, three. All right. All right, let me just push this down. Um, okay, so one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to be reaching out to each other. Make this a little less large. And starting to meet with each other and so on. Now we still classes are still open for adding and dropping, so we can have some changes. I hope Belfon and Cruikshank. Well, Adissa was here earlier, so I don't not quite sure what happened. She may have just fell off the system at this point in time, so we don't need to worry too much. She's in and around, so to speak. All right. Um, so what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to update the e-classroom. You all will see me do it with this new list so that, uh, let's see, edit settings. Um, delete this, yes, and I want to add a new file. Okay, and I seem to have it in two places, so I'll update the second place with it as well. Um, delete this, yes, and I will update this here. Okay, so what can happen? I'm not going to PDF the document yet because we can have a situation where it will need to be updated if we have the addition of more people to the class, because that's a likelihood, because registration is still open until February. If I remember clearly, it's February 9th or something along those lines. Yes, add and drop ends that by February 10th. We have that. That's the period during which you could withdraw from classes, but you'll still have to pay your funds and so on. Okay, so February 9th is the deadline for adding and dropping. So we are likely to possibly have a new member come into class. Um, so there's that possibility that we have. But as it is right now, we have 29 folks. We have assigned those 29 to the groups. If we get a 30th person, which because there's only space for one more, what I will do is I will add that person to the first group with Miss Pollard and Miss Serkisun to balance off that one. Okay, so now I've updated the e-classroom with this document. Has everybody been able to join the WhatsApp chat group yet for this group? This is 5 to 8. So what I want to do here is add that document to the e-classroom so that you can get it there as well. Um, just in the event that it might be a little more convenient there. All right. Okay. So with that being done, I think we've made arrangements for what the semester is going to look like. As I said, the only change we may have at this point in time is whether people trade with each other in terms of where they are and which groups, especially those people who just got placed in and they weren't here to kind of volunteer. For whatever reason, they were here earlier and then they left. Um, um, so that's it. So we kind of know what's happening. So next week is me, I will be doing the presentation, so I expect you all to come in. We have already indicated that our classes will begin from 5:30, although it's coded on the system as a 5 o'clock start. For ease of, to allow people a little more time to get into the classroom from work, I'll start them from 5:30, but I'll probably open the class from about 5:15 or so to, get people to come in. All right, so I'll remind you all of that when I share the link and stuff via the WhatsApp chat group. So the WhatsApp chat group is going to become our primary form of communication. And it's something that I want to make sure that everybody has access to, because it's the fastest way for me to get messages to you guys when necessary. So, if something happens on my end, like I have a power outage or my network gets, which has happened, it has happened, I can, message you all and let you all know what's happening from my end quickly. Similarly, you can do the same as well. You can message me and give me feedback on what's happening. All right. Are there any questions that anybody would like to ask at this point? No questions? All right. So with that being said, I will stop the recording.